Hi, welcome to Rocky Mountain Views. I'm your host, Martha Thompson. Today we're sitting with some folks from a wonderful organization called Phoenix Multisport. I'd like to introduce you to Michele and Todd Jones. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. This is a real honor to be able to sit here and talk to you today.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because I love what you do.
Yeah.
So, for folks who don't know, what is Phoenix Multisport? How long has it been around? Let's start just letting folks know what it is.
Sure. Phoenix Multisport is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are in our 6th year of operation.
Wow.
We provide free programming to anyone who is in recovery or has 48 hours sober, and anyone who chooses to have a sober lifestyle.
Okay, so it could be someone who just chooses to not
Yep.
drink or use substances. They can still participate.
Right.
Okay.
And the free programming we offer, we have a variety of physical activities, indoor and outdoor activities that we offer throughout the week. We have over 40 programs a week that we offer between Denver, Boulder, and Colorado Springs.
Okay, so those are the 3 locations.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are the kinds of activities that you do? What do you want
We
to
do
say?
everything as laid back as socials, which are just like little mixers, get to know you, or we'll go down to a coffee shop or a frozen yogurt place and just meet and have coffee and frozen yogurt. Very low intimidating atmosphere. And then we'll do
Right.
things as high energy as ice climbing, indoor rock climbing, strength training, yoga, circuit training, hikes, mountain bike rides, road bike rides, running program. In Denver, there's boxing. Each chapter looks a little different, kind of based on what's available in the area.
Okay. All right. Now you also work with veterans,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yes, particularly in Colorado Springs, but in all of our chapters we have members who are either veterans or active duty military who come to the programs, and we've been finding it's particularly helpful to people who are coming back with a lot of post-traumatic stress, and it's really an alternate coping mechanism than turning to drugs or alcohol. We try to get them involved in activities and in a safe, supportive community, which is really what our goal is to provide, is a safe community really for anyone who's in recovery or who's looking to choose that path. And so that some of those people are just testing it out, and we get a lot of that community who are coming to look at a different way to cope with those issues.
That's great. And one of the things that I really like about this is that, I mean, we all know somebody who's had a struggle, who's had a problem. You know, I don't know anyone whose life has not been touched by that. But one of the things that I understand is pretty difficult is when in a relationship, if one is the person who's sought help and is getting sober, and the spouse doesn't have the problem, they've been living with
Mm-hmm.
it, but they don't have the problem, and then the person who's has the addiction, when they get help, that spouse really feels left out.
Yeah.
And it seems like then this would be something then they can do together.
Yes, it is. And right now, we offer, again, that's why we have people who choose to live sober also
Okay.
is a big part of the community, because we do have a lot of family members, and they're either spouses, we have some who are children or some who are parents who participate alongside the person who's in recovery. And we find through that, like, they build a much stronger bond than they had. And a lot of times a relationship needs a lot of repair, and those can be really hard conversations to just sit down and have. And how do you go about having that kind of repair happen? And sometimes it can just happen organically when they're out rock climbing together, and they're starting to actually build a new relationship around something healthy, versus, you know, what a lot of times the addiction or the alcoholism made such a destructive environment. They now can get healthy together and build a healthy relationship together around the sports or the activities that we're providing.
I love that. That's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit too about, of course, there are, you know, a number of ways to get sober. The most well-known are 12-step groups. What do you think that Phoenix Multisport does or adds to that maybe supports sobriety more than if they did not have it? What do you think, Todd?
A lot of it is that Phoenix supports it in a different way. We're definitely not an alternative to a 12-step group. 12-step definitely has its place in recovery, and this is something completely separate from that. What the benefit is more building that community, that social outlet. A lot of it's having the place to fill your time, becoming more than just an addict. You know, anonymous programs are very, very important. But one of the things that, you know, a lot of our team members have expressed is that when they first get sober, there's a tremendous amount of shame around the fact that they had problems with drugs and alcohol.
Right.
And so, you know, what Phoenix provides as an opportunity is now I'm not just identifying myself as an alcoholic or a drug addict. I'm now identifying myself as a rock climber, as a friend. I'm a mountain biker. You know, and I have this new identity. Another big goal of what Phoenix is trying to do is we're trying to show the community that we do a lot. The people in recovery do a lot of things, such as, you know, positive things out in the community, you know, such as being part of, you know, rock climbing, and we're seeing out in the community doing mountain bike rides and road bike rides and, you know, different things like that.
That's so cool. Well, and, you know, when someone has been abusing their body with drugs and alcohol, you know, you're not used to taking care of yourself physically, so you're also giving them an opportunity to get physically strong, not just going through an emotional change or psychological change.
Sure, yeah.
But
And
yet,
that has a huge effect also. I mean, in just helping people set goals and start seeing transformation in themselves, and sometimes just having the physical transformation. You know, we start with people doing yoga who, you know, can't bend and touch their knees, and so a goal might be, you know, to get to a point where they can touch their toes or something. And those little milestones really add up into rebuilding someone's self-esteem, because a lot of people come from a place, you know, especially when they're really just new in sobriety, where their self-esteem has been really just destroyed and taken away. And so that leads to joblessness, and that leads to, you know, more feelings of shame and everything. And so when someone can start accomplishing those small goals, like getting to the top of, you know, just an indoor rock climb is a huge one.
I think that's a pretty good goal.
It's a pretty great goal, but it's something that's very attainable right then and in the moment. And so people can get that real self-affirmation very quickly, and it does translate into starting to rebuild self-esteem that really can help in the long term, help with just getting jobs and going back and finding housing, and it extends far beyond the physical activity. But the physical activity and just getting healthy in and of itself really helps support sobriety and helps people sustain sobriety, which is, you know, another big aspect of what we're trying to build is a long-term community where people can sustain sobriety. A lot of treatment centers help with that immediate, you know, that 30, 60, 90 days, really taking somebody and helping them get sober. But one of the kind of the things that it's lacking is a lot of support systems that support the long-term sobriety and people having support for years to come. And one thing we're trying to do in building this community is people may enter through Phoenix and find a group of people that they enjoy doing an activity with, and that they can come regularly to that event and they can participate. But our goal is that they build relationships and that they take those far beyond Phoenix and they take them years into the future, and that they're really sustaining their sobriety and really reintegrating into community and becoming active supporting members of the community again.
And I would think, based on, you know, what you're telling me, that will greatly lessen the chance of someone using again or relapsing.
Yeah, and
You know,
that is one of the goals, is to help prevent relapse. I think there's a lot of evidence that when people come out of short-term recovery and treatment programs, there is, you know, going back to their old friends. You know, what do you do when you get
what's
out?
different?
You know, what's different? And you get out and you lose all of a sudden that support system. And so that's why there are very high rates of relapse. And we actually also work within treatment centers right now, providing programs while people are in treatment. So they're actually getting an introduction to the instructors who are also in the community programs. And we bring some people from our community, our volunteers, in to work with people. So they're building relationships and connections while they're in treatment, so
That's
they can
great.
bridge right into our community and essentially have that community for as long as they want, and with the goal that we are sustaining their sobriety and we're helping reduce relapse rates. Or if relapse happens, if it does happen, though, that being part of this community can help shorten the duration of that relapse. They don't have to go out for years. They've got a big community that can draw them right back in and embrace them, and not have people feel that shame that sometimes comes with having that relapse. So,
Sure, I'm sure it feels like
Yeah.
another failure.
right. And so that's where, just get another 48 hours and come on back, and you're welcomed right back into the community. And there's a bunch of people who are waiting for you, like missing, where have you been?
Yes,
So, yeah.
that's fantastic.
I think another big part of what Phoenix is there and does for the community is that a lot of these people are used to having a social lubricant of alcohol or drugs when they're interacting with other people. And in a sober environment, it helps to have these activities that the events are geared around. So now we can talk about climbing. We can talk about a mountain bike ride. We can talk about our hike the next day. We have a common cause to get together. Whereas, being in recovery, I know that most of my common cause centered around alcohol when I was drinking and using, or around drugs. So now we have got a new common cause. We're going to get together. We're going to go for this hike, and we have a reason to be hanging out. We have something new to talk about besides our old stomping grounds and what we used to do. We're not rehashing all of that. We're creating new experiences in a sober lifestyle.
And you just get to be you, or figure out who you really is, because I'm sure everything changes, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I think that's a lot of people. That's really where I think the supportive community comes in, and the notion that we're not intentionally anonymous. We certainly don't put people out there, but we do encourage people. Like Todd's wearing the sober T-shirt, right?
I noticed that.
Yeah, it's hard to miss. But we're proud of being sober, and
You should be.
in recovery, and what we're accomplishing in recovery, as opposed to sort of dwelling on what the past was. This is about accepting all of you and who you are, and that is a part of you, but it is not all of you. We are athletes, and we're professionals, and we're family members, and and we are people in recovery. And so I think that does really, I know for myself, it has helped break down that sort of that compartmentalization we can do, when we're in an active addiction. In sobriety, we can become a whole person, and we can show up in relationships as a whole person. And this community kind of just allows that to happen on a bike ride, rock climbing, at the coffee shop, just in all of our interactions, we become kind of whole people over whatever time period and process that needs to be for somebody.
But it allows for an opportunity to redefine.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, you get to redefine who you are.
I love that.
And and find this new person inside, who is this person achieving all kinds of goals, and is really capable of showing up as a family person, and as someone, an employed person, and as a friend. Yeah.
Outstanding. Now, people come into recovery at different levels. There's a bottom that people have to hit, and not everyone's is the same. But some people, when they come into recovery, have lost everything. So how does Phoenix Multisport help them with that? I mean, let's talk about what it costs, how your instructors are paid. I know you say you're a nonprofit, but tell me how all of that works.
So all of our programs are free.
Always?
To all of the community, to the community that comes and participates. We have a small section of fee-for-service that we do with our treatment centers. It's still free to the participant.
Okay.
But yeah, we offer everything we do essentially for free. So we try to remove that barrier, because we do realize that so many people are coming from, a place where they're trying to rebuild themselves and they really have nothing. And so we don't want that to be a barrier to participating and getting healthy and finding a new sport that they love. So we provide all of the equipment that you need. We have a full fleet of mountain bikes, road bikes. We have all the climbing equipment.
Wow.
And we provide the instructors, and Todd can talk about, our instruction and some of the climbing.
Yeah, I want to hear about
Yeah.
who those instructors are, because we spoke earlier today a little bit about that, and I think it is just amazing how you have designed that. So tell me about your instructors.
Most of our instructors are, I'm sorry, let me back that up. All of our instructors are in recovery. We've
Right.
all been down
Okay.
this road, part of it in recovery, and Phoenix has played a large role in most of our recoveries before we ever came to Phoenix. For instance, I volunteered for a long time before I started working for Phoenix, and now employed with them. We're all highly trained in our fields. Phoenix really goes out of their way to make sure that we get trained with proper training. We're all wilderness first responders. We're all get some of the highest certifications in our discipline, so that we can give these people the best training. It's not second-rate training, it's really good training. And one of our goals is like in the climbing program, we want to teach people how to climb. We don't want to take them climbing. So, if you were to come to an event, a climbing event, you have your 48 hours clean and sober directly before the event. You come in, it's free. I've got all the gear. We've got all the instruction. We've got a community of people that are excited that you're there and happy to help you learn more. And then we just want to really help you, after you've been coming around for a while, you usually establish some goals, and we want to help you reach those goals in whatever discipline, whatever sport it is that you're interested in.
That's fantastic. Now, the climbing is the most popular, right?
Yes, yeah. It by far gets the most number of people every week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's for all 3 cities.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Although actually in Denver, I should take that back. We do have CrossFit and we have boxing. We have a big facility in downtown Denver, and it actually is now, I think, taken over the climbing is the popular program. I mean, we easily have 40 people per event each night coming to those programs. So in Boulder and in Colorado
fantastic.
Springs, yeah, our climbing is a huge success. We
Wow.
have probably around 40 people, I think, at each of those
Mhm.
programs
We've had
on those nights.
We've had as many as 70 show up for one climbing event in Colorado
Wow.
Springs,
Yeah.
and but a normal average night would be 35 to 40 people climbing that are in recovery.
And about how many events per week do you have?
We have 40 events from across the 3 chapters.
Okay.
That
All
are
right.
open to the community, and then we have another 15 events that we run for inpatient treatment programs.
That is fantastic. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, because I need to tell you folks, this is such a great program if someone has really found themselves lost, and if they take that courageous step to get sober and start over, they need all the support that they can get. And that is, it's expensive. It's, you've heard Todd and Michele talk about the level of training that goes into this, and that they provide all of the equipment that's needed for these different sports. And personally, I can see such value as a member of society to contribute to you, because when people are not in recovery, there are, we spoke earlier about a neighbor that we'd had. I can't tell you how many times the fire department was there and called, or the police, and trips to the emergency room, someone having to spend time in jail. The cost for society when someone is not in recovery is very, very high.
Accidents from DUI and from and people who are going through the judicial system, a large percentage of those people are there just because of drug and alcohol related issues.
See, and this is such a fantastic way to support people making a positive change in their life. No one can make anyone decide to have, make that choice. But if they do, I really feel like we need to do everything that we can to support that. It's not just great and wonderful for them, it's smart for our community to do that.
And it's important for Phoenix that the community supports what we're doing and sees that good work. And so each of the communities that we're in, we really do want to make an effort to engage with that community and get the support from the community, both financial but also just in spreading the word and connecting us with people. We work with the drug courts in each one of the communities that we're in. So we are an authorized service provider, so they send people to our programs, and those count towards getting people what they need to be able to complete those drug court programs. And so it is an important thing for us to be in the community and and welcomed in that community. Yeah, that's
honored.
Yeah, honored in that. Yeah.
I think that that's probably one of the biggest hurdles to overcome is feeling like you're one of the dregs of society to, hey, I'm a contributing member and I'm doing good things and now I get to help other people too.
Right.
I would think that in and of itself would help someone stay sober, yes?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a tremendous part of my story. I mean, I was a drug court participant looking at a lengthy prison sentence. When the drug court magistrate told me, I think maybe Phoenix would be a good option for you to try out. And I got involved in it. And it's been a huge part of maintaining my sobriety. And now I work for Phoenix and continue and try to help other people in the same way. And we just, we see this again and again and again. My story is not unique for the people that come into this Phoenix organization.
It's remarkable. And again, each of the instructors that are teaching have all been in the same boat. Okay, so that when someone comes in, they're not going to have to feel less than or small.
No, that's right. We're based on a pure professional model. So the real point is we don't want to be clinicians and have this hierarchical structure and have people participating feeling the same way they might in like a drug court situation where they've got people they're answering to.
Yeah.
This is a place for people to just have fun and relax. But when something comes up, they know that they're with people who can relate and who can step aside and have that conversation and be that kind of emotional support because they've been in their same shoes. And we believe that's really at the heart of maintaining a really emotionally safe environment for people as well as a physically safe environment.
The other big piece of it too is that if I want to talk about my addiction with somebody else at Phoenix, I can. If I don't want to, I don't have to. It's not like when I'm sitting there with a therapist or in that kind of situation where I'm compelled to speak about whatever that situation, whatever problems or have arisen in my sobriety or as parts of my addiction. But then I can talk about it if I need to or if I want to.
Well, and I would think even just life skills, because I don't think that someone needs to be, on the brink of taking a drug or wanting a drink, but can still just be struggling getting back into the stream of life. And, we all have problems.
Right.
Life happens.
Yeah.
It's just that those of us who are fortunate enough to not have this particular issue, it's not life-threatening.
Right.
But everybody knows what that day's like.
Right. Yeah. And that's a lot of, you get a lot of that. And I think that's one of the, we're very open to all different recovery pathways that people have. Some people use 12 steps, some people are religious, and they use all different ways that they can come in. And actually, we believe that really enhances our community because there's this real great cross-pollination of ideas. And so if one thing's not working for you, you can talk to somebody else that they've got a different solution. And so it really helps blend a lot of great ideas about how people get their recovery and how they walk that path, and they can share that with each other. And that in and of itself really helps individuals, I think, sustain their recovery, because 12 steps not for everybody. Some people really are kind of, don't feel integrated in that group, or don't have a particularly spiritual or religious connection. And so if they can come and be in a place where all of those things are available for them to explore, it really can help, I think, open up what that recovery can look like for them, and again help sustain that recovery as opposed to just molding it into one thing. And that's where we really feel like it's a continuum of care, and it's part of the solution. And we think that, you know, every one of these other pieces has a very important part in supporting someone's recovery. And they all really have to work together and have this place to come together to really keep people on the right path, discovering who they can be and really making the most of what they can be.
Well, and see people in different stages of
Yeah.
time.
Right.
You know, because I'm sure that when someone first walks in the door, someone says they've been sober or without a drink for 30 days, that sounds like monumental.
Right.
And then someone's been sober for a year, and oh my God, how could that happen? And then someone's been sober for 10 years.
Yeah.
And you get to see how someone maybe even walks through some pretty tough stuff, because you know, life doesn't stop happening because
Right.
someone's not drinking or using drugs anymore. It's still going to be there, but how do you walk through that as a sober person? You know, and you can show people.
Yeah. And that's the idea of having a long-term community. And 12-step does that for a lot of people, because you can be in there and be 30 years and still be going to meetings. But that's where we also have that role as well, and can help people beyond those treatment programs, beyond the 30, 60, 90 days. We're going to be here for years, and we're going to have a community that can support people for years as they go from 60 days sober to 6 years sober, you know, and so forth. So.
And
Go ahead.
we'll often have people in our program that are 48 hours sober, and then we'll have people that have 15 and 20 years sober as well. And they're coming together in the same room and learning some of the same skills at the same time. It's a really good thing.
That's so great. I want you guys to know they came tonight with a couple of gifts for me, which I love. This is a Phoenix Multisport hat. So I've got a brand new hat to wear, which I probably would have worn earlier because I'm having kind of a bad hair day these days. And then also a water jug to use. Perfect as we're heading into Memorial Day weekend. But these are the kinds of things that you have at your locations. Pick up a sober shirt.
Absolutely.
These are ways that someone could get something fun for themselves and be doing a good thing for the community.
Yep,
Yes?
we have bike kits, we have lots of different t-shirts and hats and lots of different gear. So it's definitely a way to be proud of being in recovery or sober or supporting.
And support.
Yep, and supporting what we do, for sure.
Well, we're going to have the addresses
Yep.
on screen at the end of the show
Fantastic.
of where everything is, how to get in touch with these folks, and check out their website. All the information will be there. Thank you so very much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's been great being here.
It's a pleasure.